in support of the department. Steven Almazán, he's an education advocate, former teacher, who's now the policy director at the advocacy group Ed Voice. And on the other side, Scottie Nell Hughes, former Trump campaign surrogate and conservative political strategist. Thank you both for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Steven, let me start with you. Just what does the Department of Education do that can't be done by the states, and why would it be so bad to lose it?
Thank you for having me on, Dan. So any proposals to eliminate the Department of Education are just misguided. They would devastate K-12 education students, higher education, and the future of millions of students across the country. The Department of Education is a civil rights agency. Its main responsibility is to protect the civil rights of all students. In addition to that, that includes providing critical federal funding for students, whether that's Title I to support children from low-income families, Title II to provide professional development funding for teachers and principals, Title III for multilingual learners, or Title IV just for the general improvement of schools. In addition to that, it supports students with disabilities, students who have unique needs that the Department of Education rightly provides additional supports. And in addition to the civil rights protections of all students, it also supports higher education and student loans. The department oversees so many of the higher education system, including the loan system, managing over $1.7 trillion in student debt, programs like the Pell Grant. I'm a former Pell Grant recipient myself, so I know what it means to receive programming from Head Start as an early care and education system all the way to higher education. So it runs the gamut in terms of what the Department of Education does.
Scottie?
Okay, so let's just bring this to where we are, just to show you how things have changed, Dan. It used to be if you were running for political office, you did not talk about cutting spending for law enforcement, and you didn't talk about cutting spending for education. Donald Trump realized the state of education in America is in such dismay right now. The Trump campaign made elimination of the Department of Education a pillar of his campaign, and it was overwhelmingly successful. Now, whether this was because the American people feel like this school system as it is today has failed in teaching their children, as test scores show, as compared to other countries around the world, or that it was teaching these woke principles and using the emotional coverage that you did not know what was going on in your child's classroom. I think you would be very hard pressed on both sides of the aisle to find someone who would say the education from the United States has improved once we made this federal, and once the Department of Education was created in 1979.
And, you know, Steven, the argument, is that why not just allow this, the states to deal with this? If we've got extra funding, give the states that additional funding. What's the issue with that?
So states like Pennsylvania, states like Georgia, states like California, any state relies heavily on federal funding for their schools. In the fiscal year of 2023, Pennsylvania, for example, received over $2.1 billion in federal education funding. That means over $600 million in Title I funds, over $40 million in Title II funds, over $130 million in IDEA funding. So eliminating the U.S. Department of Education would force states to either find alternative funding or cut programs disproportionately affecting rural and underfunded schools, which are common in a lot of conservative regions across the country.
And Scottie, what about that? Let's even assume for a moment that you take it out of the DOE, right? There's still this money that is going to the states, and it sounds like, you know, Ramaswamy and Elon Musk want to just cut the budget, right? It's not about reallocating, is it? It's about literally just eliminating that budget?
Well, there's no way that the states can survive and public school systems can survive without federal funding. What's going to be cut are all of the strings that are attached to the federal funding. That right there is the bureaucracy. I think that's why parents are very upset with where the education system has come today, of things that are being, the focus is being put on, and it's not just math, reading, and science anymore. It's all of the extras and those strings that are having to be taught if you want to be done. It's basically a version of blackmail, is what the Department of Education has been doing to states lately, and not letting, I think every single thing that has been mentioned could be handled at the state level and could be actually more efficient, because you would have more oversight, direct oversight, than some federal bureaucracy out of Washington, D.C.
It is, Steven, the reality is it does sound like it's an effort to monitor the states to some degree.
It provides additional funding for states. It provides oversight in terms of the enforcement of civil rights obligations. Unfortunately, in 2023, there was over 19,000 civil rights complaints, and a core function of the Department of Education is its Office for Civil Rights, which resolved over 16,000 of those complaints. So when it comes with state capacity, the state needs additional support, and the Department of Education provides that support.
And I think that's the area where there's probably the most disagreement. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.